What if Alexander the Great lived longer? Would the Hellenistic culture expand to new places, or would it end up worse? This question will be answered in this video. We all know who Alexander the Great was, one of the best generals to have ever lived. He conquered vast amounts of land and created the largest empire to date. His victories started a whole new epoch, a Greek epoch. Hellenism spread through the known world and influences us to this day. This all left us Alexander the Great. Alexander, who died young and who still had plans to subjugate more lands and create an empire which was larger than his own. But these all plans failed. The main reason of this failure is Alexander's untimely death. He died when he was just 32 years old, with many of his plans and dreams unfulfilled. This obviously raises the question, what if Alexander lived longer? A question I will try to answer in this video. We will be changing more than just his death. We can say that Alexander was an alcoholic. In Macedonia, it was normal to drink wine, so he drank it since he was a young boy who studied with Aristotle. But his drinking problem got only worse when he was older. He drank a lot for several reasons. He was stressed and under pressure, and he lost many of his friends during his campaigns. If we remove his drinking, it would be only good for him. Cleitos, who was a loyal servant of Alexander, would not be killed by Alexander in his anger and drunkenness. Thanks to this change, we have a more capable Alexander and we can start our new story. We are in Babylon in year 323 BC. Alexander is sad due to death of his friend Hephaestion, but he does not get ill. Alexander would have several goals in his mind: work on a greater unification of his realms and expansion. The second thing is no problem for Alexander, and shortly we will speak on Alexander's plans. But firstly, I would like to talk about the ways Alexander would unite his realm. We could see some seeds of his plans for this. He arranged weddings for his soldiers and generals with Persian people, working on uniting Greeks and Persians. This would create a new unified administration of his empire. He would also establish many more cities like Alexandria in Egypt and other Alexandrias. These cities would be loyal to him, and in case of a rebellion, they would help to defeat the rebels. After making these changes and establishing his role in a conquered territory, he would continue with his military campaigns. He would conquer Arabian Peninsula. This would put Alexander into absolute control of trade with India, which we know Alexander he wants to conquer. But at the moment, around the year 320 BC, his sight is aimed in a western direction. Here, he would concentrate on uniting all Greeks, because there were Greeks at the time who lived on Sicily and in southern Italy, defeating Carthage and expanding his empire all the way to the Pillars of Hercules, or, in a modern day, Gibraltar. Alexander would begin his invasion of West with naval landing in southern Italy. He would land in here for several reasons. He would want to avenge his relative, who was killed in this area by Italic tribes when Alexander was a child. He would successfully manage to subjugate the region. His landing and successful campaign would scare the Romans, who would at the time control only central Italy. But they would not go to conflict immediately, because Alexander would want to unite all Greeks. So after the fall of southern Italy, he would concentrate on Sicily. Here, he would start a war with Carthaginians, but he would get stuck on the island for a while, just like the Romans did in the First Punic War, besieging cities. There would also be some naval fighting between Macedonian navy and the Carthaginian navy, who would fight for dominance in the Mediterranean Sea. The Macedonians would probably divide their forces, with one army besieging down Sicily, and the other army landing in Africa and trying to capture Carthage. Romans would use this situation to attack South Italy, although they could have some success at the beginning, like occupying the entire area of South Italy. They would not be able to defeat the Macedonians. Around the year 315 BC, Carthage would fall, and Romans would start to lose to Macedonians. But I trust Romans that they would make some sneaky peace deal with them, saving the Eternal City, but losing a lot, and becoming Alexander's vassal state. The Macedonians and Alexander have now successfully conquered the entire African coast, vast amounts of Italy, and the Greek colonies in western Mediterranean. Alexander has won. He would return back to Babylon. On his way there, he would visit Macedonia and Egypt, before arriving in Babylon. Here, he would consolidate his power, reform the empire, and suppress the rebellions. He would officially deify himself as the son of Zeus, and add himself to a new pantheon, where Greek and Persian gods were unified. He would also make his son and heir ready to rule after him, maybe making him a co-emperor, so there would not be any problems at the time when Alexander dies. It would be a sad moment, but Alexander the Great has died. His death came around the year 275 BC. There would be rebellions, but his son, Alexander IV, would manage to suppress them and consolidate his rule over the greatest empire to have ever existed. And his sight would be set on India. But I will leave this for a possible second part. But for now, this is all. But don't leave just yet, because I have here an interesting historical fact for you. Did you know that Alexander the Great had heterochromia? One of his eyes was blue and the other one was brown. Now it is all. If you enjoyed this video, you can give like, subscribe, join my Discord server, link is in description. Salvete.